Roblox VR having a huge amount of potential is something that I have reiterated over and over and over again. Every single video of mine usually has me talking about something related to Roblox VR and the fact that it's gonna be big, but it isn't yet. And I'm sure you've already guessed by now why Roblox VR isn't as popular as it is. Say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lack of games. Now I feel like I'm a pretty creative person. If I knew how to code, I would probably make a lot of games on Roblox. However, unfortunately, I don't, and I can't really be bothered to learn. So instead of getting off my lazy butt and going to learn how to code in Lua, I instead am gonna give you guys, yes, you guys, my favorite game concepts that I would like to see on Roblox VR. If you didn't catch it from the title, this video was heavily inspired by Funky's video made 2 years ago talking about the same premise, but not in Roblox VR. But yeah, without further ado, make sure to like, subscribe, and enjoy the video. Battle Royales are a completely oversaturated genre in the gaming world and on Roblox, and the main reason why this is because most of them are usually carbon copies of each other in some way that isn't due to the genre. Like, especially on Roblox, most Battle Royales are usually just copies of Fortnite where you drop in off a bus or something related to that, then you go and you start build structures, you crank 90s, and oh my gosh, you're doing the default dance. However, I feel that a Battle Royale game in virtual reality would probably be something that would absolutely take off on Roblox VR. But since we all know that Roblox VR is of course not as popular as it should be, I've kind of had to downscale the idea in order to fit it within realistic parameters of the current Roblox VR climate. But I'm sure you're probably wondering, how does the Battle Royale itself actually work? My vision for how a general game would go down is you would spawn into a lobby as most Battle Royales would, and you would wait until you have about 50 players inside of the lobby. Once you're in there, you would be dropped into the sky, but instead of just being in a battle bus and being able to go anywhere, you're dropped in at random and are going to have to adapt on the fly based on wherever you are dropped to. The reason why this is because the map is split into 4 separate zones, each with different climates that grant different challenges. The winter side of things will obviously be a blizzard and provide low visibility, making it a lot harder for you to engage in long-range combat. The jungle climate will be filled with lots of trees and also be very dense, kind of similar to the winter. However, it will also have a lot of wooden structures, kind of similar to the Ewoks in Star Wars, where most of their houses and bridges are up in the trees, making for a lot of really cool treehouse fights, in addition to having structures on the floor as well. But completely contrasting the winter and jungle maps will be the desert. This will be more of like a canyon-esque type of map, I guess, where you'll basically have very big room for long-range engagements and not a lot of room for cover. Then as for the 4th climate, I actually haven't thought of anything yet. The reason why is because I want to hear your thoughts and ideas as to what this 4th climate should be and how it would change and influence the game. Let me know in the comments below, and while that happens, we're gonna transition over to the next game concept. Horror games! Something that for some odd reason, despite having probably the most fun amount of potential, are absolutely nowhere to be found in the Roblox VR space. So as for the horror game that I want to see, the general gameplay would go like this. You're placed in a house with 3 other friends in order to have that multiplayer feel that's kind of a trend on Roblox VR horror games right now. However, as most of you know, horror games become a lot less scary when you're playing with friends. That's why this game is going to deliberately separate you from them. I don't know how I would do this, but I do have a little bit of ideas. Maybe having hiding spots be completely scarce and spread out. That way, if you wanted to hide from the monster, you'd have to run away from your friends and be all alone. Either that, or maybe just having one of them go in as like a quick time event and get teleported to another area before they get scared by the monster and teleported back. Bottom line is, they need to be separated from their friends, so then they will experience a huge amount of discomfort before eventually getting caught off guard by the monster's jump scare. As for the entity itself, it's probably going to be something of a humanoid, and since it's in a dark house, I would probably want the entity itself to be like pitch black with red eyes, or, you know, something like that, who knows. I don't want to put a huge emphasis on the entity and how it looks, because most of the game is going to be more of an atmospheric thing and how it scares you, and the way that we would do this is by having an adaptive soundtrack, which I know is a big ask for a lot of developers, but I'm sure there will be a way to find some music composers that would be able to do that for a Roblox game. And this adaptive soundtrack would be able to increase the tension based on the entity's position to you. Like, for example, it could be like a muffling noise for a random amount of time before getting jump scared by the entity to lure you into a false sense of security after the soundtrack stops. Either that, or when you're getting chased by the entity, the closer it is, the louder the soundtrack gets. You know, something like that. I haven't really decided if this is going to be like a story-based game or not. I never really thought that deep into it, but you know, the more I think about it, the more I feel that it could be pretty cool to sprinkle in some lore there just so the community would have something outside of the game to try and figure out. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Let's move on. So drawing away from the spookies and scaries of the upcoming Hallows Eve, I want to go back to something that honestly has never been tried in the virtual reality space before, but I feel has huge potential. The activity here has to do with the ocean and has to utilize a lot of balance control. That's right, we're talking about surfing. The general gameplay for this would be basically that of a surfing competition where you're trying to do the most tricks in order to get the highest score. The general gameplay loop would start at you all being at the beach before everybody having to run into the ocean and then start paddling out into the break. I don't know if there's any Roblox footage for this, so I'm just going to use actual footage to show it, but yeah. The waves will differ in difficulty, with the higher ones being harder to balance on but granting you more points, and the easier ones being obviously easier to balance on but granting you less points. And after a timer runs out or players each ride 4 waves, they will be able to add up their scores, and then whoever has the highest score at the end becomes the winner. I also feel that it would be cool if there were rewards for getting a certain amount of wins, like getting a boogie board at 50 or a golden surfboard at 100. Either way though, even outside of Roblox VR, I still feel like this game concept has a huge amount of potential, and I would really be excited to see if somebody were able to do this. However, with that concept now over, it's time that we move on to the final and potentially what could be the most fun. Sword fighting in VR is something that's been done many times with many different concepts. And now I want to spark a new concept. One where you are a part of a medieval army and you are charging into battle against the other team. Instead of being placed in an arena where you have to try and fight someone one-on-one, the one-on-one concept will now be translated over to war. Because when you run in and you attack somebody, you two will be locked in a state of 1 versus 1 battle. Nobody else will be able to hurt you in this state besides each other, and the last person standing will be able to break out of that state and then go fight somebody else. There will be no health regeneration in this, so battles can take a huge toll and you're gonna have to fight until the very end. Then when everything is said and done, the last team standing will be proclaimed the winner. Then everything will reset and you will be able to battle again. Now I am leading this up to interpretation. Maybe you could have different abilities or maybe even different weapons. This idea is very modular and I'd be very excited to see what twists people would put on this as they make the Roblox VR game. However, for those of you who aren't Roblox developers, you probably want to go and play some Roblox VR games now. But since the VR genre is filled with several copy and paste social games, you're probably wondering what are the best games that you can play. And fear not, because by clicking on the playlist on screen, you will be directed to all of my other Roblox VR videos. And within these videos, there will be plenty covering different types of games that you will be able to play and enjoy. But yeah, with that said, I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and with that said, my name is Trentic, and I will be signing out. Peace.